Hello and welcome to part 3 of building an application with React and Redux. I can't remember the exact title I had for the video, but that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be building a front end for an application called Habitica, which lets you kind of track your habits and stuff like that. And just imagine like a GTD type to-do list with gamification. So I'm kind of building a lightweight client with React and Redux for that. Let's go ahead and pick up where we left off. So in the last video, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a different view. There we go. This is me. Hi. In the last video, I explained Redux as well as I could. The basics of it, using actions, using reducers, using dispatch, using the store, and all these different things to kind of create this nice little loop so that everything works together. But I didn't really demonstrate anything. The reason for that is that it's a little bit easier to go ahead and demonstrate how Redux works, as in, you know, what it looks like when it's running, with a view layer. And today we'll be using React as the view layer. The reason I say that React is just a view layer is because, well, that's kind of what it is, and it's completely optional. Redux does not depend on React. If you want to use React and Redux together, that's okay. That's the canonical way of using Redux. There are some separate libraries that help you connect the two, namely React Redux. So that's just something to keep in mind, that when you use Redux, to use it with React, you have to use a separate library. The reason for that is that the author of Redux wanted to make sure that you can use Redux anywhere you want to, without React, without Angular, without any of these frameworks, and it would still be okay, and it doesn't carry the weight of basically a library that depends on like React or another similar library. So that's kind of what we'll be going through today. We'll be going through using a provider to go ahead and provide our tree, our React DOM tree. It's not a DOM tree, what is it? Our React component tree with the store, and connect to go ahead and connect that store with our individual React components. So let me exit out of this thing. See if I can figure out how. There we go. And yeah, okay. We have Emacs opened, as always. My editor of choice. And I'm gonna go ahead and open the source folder and get to the root of our project. There we go. So one thing I'm going to do real quick is load up my command line so that I can go ahead and install all of the dependencies. And let's see if we have them installed already. I don't think I installed them before, so let's see. So we have a lot of different dependencies. We do have React Redux, so that's the dependency we'll need in order to make Redux work with React. Cool. Let me double check. I wrote a previous app just to kind of try out Redux, and I'm kind of going off of it as far as how to structure everything and getting all the right dependencies. It looks like we have everything we need. Cool. Let me just delete the license. I don't really have a license for this currently. Anyways. All right. So. The way we start our application is basically by creating a store, and we create a store using our reducers. If you kind of need to brush up on this, I suggest watching the previous video again, or maybe you can just pick it up on the way through here. If you guys remember, a reducer is basically just a function that gets the original state and whatever action was just currently dispatched, and modifies the state, and returns a new state. Or not, it doesn't modify the state, it returns a new state with the new data that needed to be changed or whatever. So if you add a task, you go ahead and you add a task, yeah, but you create a completely new object. So you're never actually mutating the original state. That's something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and connect the store with React. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my, what do you call it, reference, yeah. So we have all this Redux stuff. That's great. Let's go ahead and import the render from React DOM. So we can go ahead and do DOM operations with React. And let's go ahead and, is that it? Oh, and provider from React Redux, our little library that connects React and Redux together. Oh, and we also need React, of course. We might actually not need React at the root here, but it's okay. Did I mess something up, or what's happening here? There we go. So we're gonna go ahead and just get the root element of our application. I'm gonna go ahead and create that. So in our index.html, we haven't touched this in a while, haven't we? Okay, so in our index.html, we're just gonna create a div with an ID of root, or app root. We're gonna close that out. Save it, and that's going to be our root element. So we're going to go ahead and do document.get element by ID app root, and so that's our root element where we're going to mount our React application, and we're going to go ahead and just render into it. Yeah, it looks. I don't think we needed React imported, but that's okay. So we're going to do provider equals store. I'm going to close out the provider, and we're going to go ahead and create an app in here, and I'm going to have to import that separately. We're going to go ahead and create a view called app. We're going to create an app, or not a view, sorry. Yeah, it's a view, it's a component. And we're going to go ahead and pass that over here, and then we're going to pass the root element as the place to mount our application. So let's go through this so that it makes sense. If you've done some React in the past, this should all look familiar, except for the provider. So what is the provider? So provider is a React component, as far as I understand, is a React component that allows you to use React's new feature called context. Now, I don't know too much about context. I haven't looked into it, and I don't want to go too much into detail about context, if that's fine with you guys. But it's basically a way of being able to provide data along across the entire component tree, wherever you want it to. So imagine that you have some data, and instead of having to pass it through every single element, oh, you know, my webcam is kind of aimed weirdly. So instead of having to pass all this data down through different props, all the way down to the lowest element, and this could be easily 20 components deep or 10, 20 components deep. It's still not aligned, right? So instead of having to pass all this data down, I'm glad I noticed it though. All the way down to the lowest element, and this could be easily. Viewer count is obviously wrong. There we go. Yeah, I got a couple of viewers. Anyways. So it's a way to pass that data along without props. You're able to basically get into your component and say, hey, you know, get the current context, and I need this specific data, and pass it into my component as a prop. You're basically telling React, like, you know, this data that's available in my entire tree, make sure it's available to my component in this specific place. And it's passed through props. Well, you're not actually writing the props, but it's in this.props. It'll make more sense once I do this. Provider is a nice little wrapper that Dan Abramov wrote into the React Redux library that basically kind of simplifies the entire context API. You basically just wrap your application in the provider, and that's kind of it. Nothing else to it. And then you have to connect like whenever you actually want that data from the store, you have to connect it separately. You would have to do the same thing with React's context anyway. So again, this little thing allows you to pass a store that we created, and that store will now be available to any and every component within our application. So again, this little thing. Okay, good. And it gets mounted to our app root. Let's create our app. So there it is. And this is basically going to be a damn it, press the wrong button. And this is basically going to be a basic React component. Let's see, is it big enough? I feel like I need to make it bigger. All right, so we're going to get React. We're also going to get component. If you watched the Dan Overmont's, or if you read any documentation, you should use prop types. Prop types is basically allows you to do kind of like enforcing that you get certain data from wherever you want it, and it has to be in a certain format. So imagine like that this is kind of like a static language, right? So you're defining like all the data that has to come into the component for the component to work. And if it doesn't, you'll get like an exception or something. We're not going to use it because we don't need it to be that strict, but just for all the curious, it kind of looks like, imagine we have our class app and this is our React component. What you would do is do app.prop types, and you kind of create an object of what your props should look like. So imagine you have like tasks that would be like one prop that you want, and you're gonna say prop types dot array of, and you can do prop types dot shape. It's a little bit, it seems a little bit complicated, but basically you're doing, you're enforcing certain types to be certain types and certain props to be passed into your component, but we don't need that. At least not right now. Okay. So let's first create our little React component before we do anything else. Best extends component. That's why we had component. It's gonna have a render method, of course. Render. Okay. Need to start the video playing. That's why we had component. It's gonna have a render method, of course. I have a video playing in the background. Whoa. What did it sound like? Okay, I had no idea I had anything playing. Let me just open volume mixer and just see. Okay, well, that wasn't something I wanted to do. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, thanks. Did it sound like pretty bad? Do you think I need to start over? Okay, well, I'm sorry about the recording. It looks like I had Twitch opened for some reason, and it was streaming the video, so there was a little bit of a feedback. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that, guys. I guess I'm not gonna start over. It's okay. Anyway, so render method, we're gonna go ahead and just, that's not right. We're gonna go ahead and just do this. We're gonna go ahead and do a div. So everything's going to be wrapped in a nice little div. And we want all of our tasks, right? So what would that look like? We're going to go ahead and create... Wasn't that bad? Okay, I'm glad. So we're going to go ahead and create 3 different divs. 3 different... let's do section. Let's make it nice and semantic. The first one is going to be... our list of habits, so we're gonna call it, we're gonna say habits here. The second one's gonna be dailies, so we're gonna have these like 3 different lists that we're gonna get from our data set. And to-dos. So let me just recap what the, let's see, was one. Oh man, yeah, really sorry about the feedback. I'm glad I have the chat on. Man, it would have sucked to record the entire video and... that sucks. That makes me want to start over. But I don't really want to. I'm already recording for like 15 minutes. Fuck. Anyway. Where was I? Reducer. So our initial state is just tasks, right? And I told you guys that... let's just exit out of that, yeah. And I told you guys that Habitica has 3 different types of tasks. It has to-dos, it has habits, and it has dailies. So those are the 3 lists that we're going to be showing. Cool, so we got that done. Now, how do we display these? We can go ahead and just do a regular list. And do, what do you do? Like, well, we're gonna have to get these tasks. So, well, this is basically it, right? And then we're gonna have a nice little task list over here. We're gonna create that into a separate component so that you guys can see like how the reducers or how the connect and everything works together. So we're gonna have a task list component. We're not gonna create that right now, but let's go ahead and connect our our store. So we're gonna grab connect again, part of React Redux, and we're gonna do if you do a lot of React, or if you do any React, you know that you just do export default app, and it would go ahead and create it into a React component. Well, we're gonna have to wrap this a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and create a function called select, and select is gonna get the entirety of the state, and I'm gonna show you how that works. Let's go ahead and connect it. So connect, we're gonna do select, which is gonna be our selector over here, and this is how you connect a React component to Redux. So what is the state thing? The select thing. So the select thing basically just gets past the state, and you pick out all the different parts that you want, and you go ahead and return that little object with all the different parts that you want, and that's going to be now available in the props of the app. So we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to do habits, habit or habits. Habits. So we'll do state.tasks.filter, and we're going to do task. And we want to make sure the task type is equal to habit. Cool. Let me scroll down so that it's in the middle of the screen. That's about better. So we'll have habits, we'll have dailies. So this can be state.tasks.filter. Task.type equals daily. And lastly, we're going to have to-dos. So all of these different tasks are just normally situated together in a huge array that we get back from the server from Helvetica. And we want to store that array as is. And but on the front end, we want to separate these into 3 different lists. So this little select function allows you to do that. So that's kind of cool. And how do we get this information back? Well, let me show you. So we're going to do constant, and we're going to do some destructuring. We're going to do dispatch. So one of the things that the provider does when you use it with connection, together with connect, is allow you to use the dispatch method. So anywhere you need to use dispatch, you have to use the connector. In most components, you're not going to have to use connect whatsoever. But in the ones that do any kind of an action, you're going to have to use connect. And in any of the components that need some specific data that is not passed through a parent component, you're going to need connect. So that's kind of a rule of thumb. But we have habits, we have dailies, and we have to-dos. Just have props. Okay. I'm just going to make this bigger. It's pretty easy, right? So you have, you just import connect. You have your regular React component, and then you just do connect select. You're gonna create a selector that kind of, I don't want to say mutates, but it returns it returns the state in the form that you want it to. So you want states filtered by habits and dailies, to-dos, whatever. So that's what happens in connect, and as you can see, it's curried, and then you pass the React component into it, and that's it. And then you can just access all this data through props, and destructuring allows you to do this very easily. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just add these things here. Now this task list doesn't exist yet. We're going to build that together. So we have habits, dailies, and to-dos. Now, if if this was an asynchronous application, which I will cover in the next video, next week, next Friday, we might want to do a few things like, whenever the component mounts, we want to dispatch an action that fetches new data and do a few other things. So we're going to go ahead and just create one little utility method. Oh, I think we're supposed to do one of these things for React classes. Yeah, there we go. But let's do that. Let's do handle complete task. So if we wanted to complete a task, we just pass in the task. We get our dispatch. And we'll dispatch that action. Complete task. But this is showing up as orange, which means that it's not defined. So we need to import it. So we're going to go ahead and do complete. We're going to import complete task from actions. Let's look at the actions real quick. Oh god. Let's not look at it this way. I have like a command of Command T and I don't have it set up correctly. So we have complete task. So for complete task, we just need the task ID, and that's it. Cool. And you'll see, as you can see, the loop is starting to slowly close. So the store will provide us with data. We're gonna go ahead and pass the complete task function here. How did I do that? We'll do on complete task. When you complete a task, handle complete task. Oh wow, that's a kind of verbose. Whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy paste this and change the type. So yeah, dailies. To-dos. So what we're basically doing here is passing to the task list a callback. So like whenever somebody completes a task, run handle complete task here from the app. And what that will do is dispatch a new action. And that action will trigger basically the reducer. So the action will pass in the ID and tell the reducer, hey, there's a new action called complete task, and here's an ID payload. They'll go through the reducers, and we have a case complete task. So if there's a completed task, we go ahead and just go through the complete task reducer, and when that happens, we're going to use the ID, and we're going to go ahead and just set it completed to true, and that's it. So that's our little Redux loop. It sounds kind of difficult. I'm just explaining this. I feel like this is so complicated, and I hope that like you guys watching this kind of get it. That it is really simple. It's just like when you write it out, when you write it down, you start to see how it all connects together. You have a view, and that view gets data from the store. That view, when you do any kind of a thing like complete a task, or you check off a check mark, whatever, triggers a dispatch, which our complete task returns the action that we have completed the task, and that action gets passed to the reducer, which modifies the state. That state goes back into the store, and the store notifies everybody that's connected that there's a new state, and that new state gets turned into these props, and those props go through our view, and that renders our view. So that's the little loop. Okay, so that's Flux and Redux. That's Redux in a nutshell. But of course, we're not ending here. I don't think we need anything else here. I'm looking through my list of things. I think this is pretty much it for a component. So we need a task list component. Let's go ahead and import it. Task list from task list. And you'll note it doesn't exist. Can you even see it? You barely can't see it. That's fine. So we have our old task list. Man, you know, if I wasn't doing this on Twitch, or rather, like, if I didn't have any viewers or any subscribers, I would have still, like, been going on with this, with, like, an echo in the background, and I would have had to redo all of this on Monday. I just keep kicking myself in the ass for that. Okay, so again, do we need to connect this? I don't think we need to connect this. You know what? We don't need to connect it yet. I'll show you guys why we'll need to connect it eventually. So we're going to create a class. It's going to be called class list. It'll extend component as before. This standard React stuff. We're going to go ahead and do export default task list. Since we're not connecting it yet, we're going to do that constructor thing that gets props. And it does the super thing, where it runs the original constructor of the component. And let's render. So what do we need from the props? We need that onComplete task, and we need tasks. Man, from the props. As you'll note, both of these, and let me just go ahead and do. Both of these are getting passed down to this component. So no magic here. We're gonna go ahead and just render a nice little list. It's just gonna be a regular list, and let's do. And we're gonna go ahead and map these tasks. Map task, and that's gonna just. How did I do this? Yeah. Okay. So a little map over here that we have. Okay. And how are we gonna map these? What is this gonna look like? Well, we're just gonna basically create a regular. Oh man, I got something in my eye. Where is my? You know what, guys? Oh, there's my phone. Can't be left without my phone. Anyway, so we're just gonna map these as regular list components. Or not components, sorry, just list elements. So it's gonna be a list, and it's gonna be task.text. And is there any other data that's on there? Oh, we needed to complete it, right? So let's do a. How did I do this before? Or rather, what do I want to do about this right now? And we're going to go ahead and just do. We're going to just go ahead and create like a little span element that's going to be like. That looks like a checkbox. Do we need? I don't want to use the checkbox. I just want to use that. And we're gonna do like an onClick on it. I think it's just onClick, yeah. And you know, we get an event pass through. We don't want to use that event whatsoever. And we're gonna go ahead and do onComplete task and pass in the task. Cool. Why is it lit up? I wonder. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, whatever. So what this will do is, you know, you'll click and I'll run that onComplete task, whatever was passed down, and pass in task. So that's cool. And I think that should be it, right? Yeah, that should be it. I don't think we need anything else here. We're getting to. Oh, well, you know, let's look through our in actions. We went ahead and kind of sketched out what this will look like. So we already have the type. We're using that. We're using text. Oh, and complete it. Yeah, there we go. What do we want to do with that? With complete it? We're not going to do anything right now. Let's go ahead and just run this. See that we have all of our stuff running correctly. I showed you guys in the first video how to set up gulp and all this. So let's just run that. This might take a little bit of time. And in the meantime, you know what? Do I have a way to copy CSS files? I'm going to go ahead and add a new bulk task with CSS. And we're going to go ahead and just create a simple CSS file so we can keep working on this without, or with a little bit of, you know, nice CSS or something. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy it to our build folder. Build. Cool. Yeah, 2 parentheses. I don't know. Nice. We're going to add that as a requirement. CSS has to be run. And we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And let's add some CSS real quick. Styles with CSS. We're going to have to link those too. So, you guys, I've been doing web development for a long time. And I say long time, and I guess I mean like, I don't know, 10, 11 years or something like that. And I still don't know how to correctly link a style sheet. I guess it's not that I don't know. It's more of that I can never remember the syntax, because once you do it once you set up the project, you don't use it again. You know, is it link source? Is it link href? Ugh, I feel horrible about the fact that I don't know how to do this. I think it's href. Is it? I think so. Styles and CSS. And then you have to do like. I'm looking it up on a different screen. That's why I'm like kind of stalling here for time. HTML link. No, I don't want to. Link CSS to HTML. There we go. There we go. All right, it's. One of these, file, style sheet, type, text, CSS, because what else are you going to be linking, and then href, styles, and CSS. Cool. Alright, and let's just create a couple of styles. We're going to go ahead and do, we're going to do that completed, which is going to be our task. Or we'll do task, and a task is going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a block. It's going to have a padding of 5 pixels all around. It's going to have a border of 1 pixel solid. I don't know, not red, it's just aqua, whatever. Is it with? I have no idea. I don't use name bones ever. And background is going to be like a EF, alright. So that's what our task is going to look like. And when it's completed, the border is going to be, border color is going to be like a dark gray, and the background is going to be like an A. Okay. And let's just do this. Class name equals, we're going to go ahead and, well, last name is going to be task. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to add the completed whenever it's necessary. Cool. Alright, and now that I did all this, I'm going to go ahead and just restart the process. That's okay. I still need to open it anyway, so. Yes, guys, I'm using Windows. Such tragedy, travesty. Both. All of it. Terrible. I Windows a lot. Actually, I'm enjoying using it. Is it finished? Edit the CSS and everything? That's cool. Wait a second. Yeah, it's there. Cool. Ah, where did I put that window? There we go. So, is it working? Doesn't look like it's working. Ah. Okay, so it's kind of working. I hope I didn't exit out of that. So you see, it actually shows up our dailies, to-dos, and everything. What's missing? The dummy data that we set up earlier. Why is that? Well, remember how I said that we're not gonna need like a on component mount or component did mount or whatever I call it? Well, we're gonna need it because we need to get we need to get our data. We need to get our initial data. So we're gonna do on, what is it? On, is it maybe it's component did mount? I can't remember. Yeah, it's component did mount. Okay. So when the component mounts, go ahead and dispatch. We're gonna get our dispatch from props, and we're gonna go ahead and do dispatch. Is it called fetch tasks? What did I call it? Get tasks? Yeah, it's get tasks. And we're gonna do, we don't need this part here. I'm gonna do get tasks. And again, that's another action that we need to import. So we're gonna get, when a component mounts, we're gonna get our tasks, and then we should get all of our data. Yay. Looks like something's not happening, right? It's starting scripts. Okay, it hasn't run it yet. So for some reason, some of these actions, some of these things take freaking forever, like 14 seconds. That's crazy. I wonder why. It's not a Windows thing as far as I know. Uh-oh. What did I do? No, I didn't. It was just re-rendering. Okay. Alright, that's done. Alright, I guess it's time to do some debugging. So component did mount. We're just gonna go ahead and dispatch our tasks. Is it spelled correctly? Component did mount. Alright, we're gonna dispatch get tasks. Gets tasks, we get our tasks. Let's just console log this out. You're gonna see some real heavy duty debugging right over here. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess it didn't propagate, or maybe I forgot to save something. That happens. Alright, and it works. Check that out. Ugly as hell, but it works. Alright, let's add a little bit of style to this so that we don't have to look at this ugly thing. Oh my god, that aqua, it looks horrible. Yeah, let's do styles. We're gonna add like that container. So this is gonna be our like application container. We're gonna do, you know, width, max width, I don't know, 56M, margin 0 auto, so that it's centered. Cool. This aqua is a horrible color, so we're gonna do 9 as the border color. That should be nicer. And let's do that task list. It's gonna be our task list, and it's gonna be list style type none. Okay, that should be a little bit better. Let's go ahead and change everything around here. Yeah, let's do class name here, class name, task list, And then our application, we have to add our container. Why is it taking so long? That's weird. I think it's like operating on the file. Oh, what did I mess up now? Alright, whatever. Let's just restart this. Restart Emacs. You know, I never had this much trouble with Vim. At least I don't remember having this much trouble with Vim. Okay. Whatever. Well, we have the new styling, some of it. Oh, we need some margin between the list styles. And we're getting an error. Oh, we need to have a unique key set up. That's okay. We just forgot to do that. Let's go ahead and go to app. We're going to go ahead and start our shell again. Remember that when writing JSX is not HTML, it's just very similar. So you can't do class, you have to do class name. And let's go fix the task list. Looks like we need to pass a unique key. What's kind of funny is that, you know, you should be doing this for Angular as well. And but it's not required, so nobody actually does it until you get to performance issues. I think it's just the shell running. That's weird. Man. It's like whenever I develop alone, it's totally fine. Whenever I do like live coding, everything messes up. Alright. Hey, why is the container not applied? You know what? I think it's streaming that's killing my streaming and saving stuff. That's killing my bandwidth or killing my CPU. So maybe that's why it's like being weird. It's just so strange. No, it's still being temperamental. Okay. Man, this is a fail, really. Anyways. We have that container. We have all of these. Maybe I just need to reset the zoom. Oh, weird. What's going on here? Still starting scripts. Oh my god. It's been like a minute. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't have any of that data. Alright, well that happens. Alright, we're gonna run this shell stuff in a completely different process because it's just killing Emacs. I don't know why. Yeah. Come on. You know what I want you to do? I want you to quit. Yes, I want you to terminate the batch job. Alright, cool. App.js. Alright. And task lists. Let's add a key. So we have this list of tasks, and each one has to have a key. How did I do that? Key equals task. Cool. So now they all have keys. Nice. What else do we need? So the complete task thing, I don't think it's getting fired. So, oh, that's my dog. Sorry about that. Let me just wake him up. Where is he? Man, today's just not going well with this. So we have a task list, uncomplete task. Just gonna go ahead and make sure that it gets fired. Oops. No, there we go. And a complete task. Does this get fired? Most likely does. I'm just not applying a class or anything like that to it. Wow, yeah, this is still going. Wow, it's crazy. I don't know why, but like with Webpack, I've just had so many issues with performance, with everything taking a while. So we're gonna start skipping ahead a few steps. I think it does get fired, it's just not showing up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna dynamically populate this class. And I think to do that, we should go ahead and create a task component. Why not? No, that's not. Nope, that's, you know what, that's a bad idea. It's a good idea at long term, it's a bad idea for this tutorial. Is it compiled yet? Man, what the hell? Ooh. Yeah, I want to kill that buffer. Yeah, I want to kill it. Guess I want to kill it. Alright. So the class name is going to be a computed property. So it's going to be task that. It's going to be task that completed. If it has been completed, then do task. It's going to be then just return task and what else am I returning? Completed. Oh, so it's just going to be task. Cool. That should work, I believe. Yeah, there we go. See, so it's kind of like grayed out because we completed the task over here. Does this look a little bit better? Yeah, cool. Let's add some of that extra styling. Let's do, when you have two tasks right next to each other, we go ahead and want to add a margin top of like 10 pixels. Yeah, so there's a little bit of separation. Ah, yeah, so if you click on it, go ahead, it grays out, so it's completed. Alright, so quick explanation of what's going on, because I think we're pretty much at the end of what we're going to be doing today. So we have a, I'm going to start from the beginning, because again, we've just closed the loop. We have these tasks that we kind of built, right, from scratch, or rather, this is like our dummy data. And you can get that dummy data into the state if you just do get tasks. So from our application, when it mounts, we tell it, hey, we need our tasks. The tasks get fetched. This little object gets returned into the dispatch function, and the dispatch function passes this object as an action into our root reducer. Into the store, and that store passes it on to the root reducer. It looks for what is the action type. It finds out that it's get tasks. You'll notice that this get tasks is the same as over here. It creates a copy of those tasks and copy of the state and populates the state with the new tasks and returns it. Once that's done, it's available in our store, which is passed through all of our components using provider. Now, our application is connected to Redux in the store, so it'll run a select function, it'll get the new tasks, filter through them, and make them available as props. We go ahead and just put those props and pass them on to another component called task. task list. And in task list, we render out all of the tasks, but also create an on-click action that allows you to complete the task. Once you complete the task, I can delete that. We run the complete task action with and pass it the task ID, and we go ahead and dispatch that. That goes through our actions. Complete the task. We go ahead and complete that task actually, and this little action will, or action creator will return the complete task action, which again gets passed to the store. That gets passed to the reducer, and the reducer matches the complete task against the action type to this complete task reducer, and our little reducer will map through all of the tasks that are currently available. It will see if there's a task that matches the ID that we want to complete, and then it says complete to true. Once that's done, again, this is already our second cycle through here. It gets passed to the store. The store passes it to all the components via provider. And here we use a select function. We filter through our new tasks, pass them to the task list, and then the task list will see that it's completed, and it will go ahead and add the two classes, the task and completed class. And that's kind of it. And that's what we do. Mind you, it's not a toggle, so I can only complete it. I can't do anything else. But that's okay. So that's pretty much it. We also want to add like being able to create a new task. So that'd be pretty cool to do, right, guys? Do we have time for that? All right, let's do this real quick. I'm not gonna go through all the steps, but let's just do this. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and create an input, type text, and do ref node, new task node. And new task. We also want to know what the task type is, so we'll just do... How do we find that out? That's a good question. Whatever, we want to create a new task. So new task node. We'll go ahead and do an A on click. We have the event. Oh, we don't need the event. Who cares? Plus button. We're going to do add task, which is going to get the task text, and this will dispatch and add task text action. Now, wait, we need dispatch, right? So we need to connect this. We actually need to connect this. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's okay. We're only connecting it to get access to the dispatch function. So we're going to do this. We're going to get that add task. Ooh. Alright, so it's connected. We're getting the dispatch from this.props. Cool. And is that it? Oh, let's see what other requirements there are by add task. We need to know the type. Ooh. How do we know the type? Let's go ahead and have our parent pass it to us, just so we know what kind of type we are. We could infer it from the tasks, but if we get past an empty array, we won't know. I wonder, does it work this way? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I actually don't know if you can pass props this way. I don't know, I haven't done enough React work to figure that out. Okay. And so we also need to know the type. So we're gonna go ahead and just fetch that. And this should basically allow us to add completely new tasks from scratch. It looks like there's an error somewhere. What's going on, guys? What is going on? Map states of mouse return an object instead received undefined. Ah, okay. It's the select function here. Let's just return an empty object. We just don't need any functions from, or we don't need any data from the state. We can actually kind of pass this add task thing from the parent element, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys how this looks, or how this works. Well, that's crap. Let's make it part of our list. We're gonna create a list. I think it makes sense for the first list item to be our little function to add tasks. Come on, refresh. There we go. Ooh. Alright, well, I'm gonna cheat it a little bit. We're gonna add the class name task just to get that nice little margin. It looks even worse. That's okay. Well, let's see if this works. We want a habit of code at least 50 lines a day. And let's see if that works. Cool! We also want to clear it, the value. How do we do that? I don't want to deal with it. Cool. Well, we can deal with it. Let's see. Let's just add parentheses and make this into like a regular function. We should probably abstract this out, but that's okay. We don't need to right now. And what did I want to do? New task value equals. You know what? No, let's not do this. Alright. Well, there you go. So we can check off tasks, we can add new tasks, do some Redux. That's going to be our daily. We also want to have a to-do, finish Redux tutorial videos. We already have finished Redux tutorial. Cool. We can finish these. And that's it. So this is how you connect React to Redux. In the beginning, you basically just, you create your store as usual. Then you use the provider that comes with the React Redux library, and you pass that store through using the provider into our application. Our application then uses a nifty little function called connect that comes with the React Redux library, and we have to select all the right bits of the state that we want to show. So we're going to just go ahead and fetch that and return it. This allows us to access them using this.props, but also allows us to access dispatch. And that way we can do stuff like complete a task and dispatch that actual task from actions. Yeah. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So you should pretty much, if you know enough React and didn't get lost along the way, and if you're not judging me for not knowing enough React, by now you should have a pretty clear idea of how to build a very simple React Redux application. In the next video, I'm going to be handling middleware and asynchronous actions, so that you're able to fetch stuff from the server, so that you're able to use middleware to, let's say, store the current state into local storage. That would be something interesting. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment on the YouTube video if you're on there. If you're anywhere else, on the bottom left of the screen, you should see my social media @anjanis. That's Twitter, http anjanis.com. That's my blog, which incidentally has a React tutorial. if you're on YouTube, you don't need to know my YouTube channel name. That should be pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I have a React guide. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about React or learn it, this is actually pretty nifty. People have told me that it actually works. It's pretty good. And yeah, I guess that's it. I should be making another video live. Since I'll be uploading this to YouTube, but I'm recording on Twitch, I should mention I do have a Twitch.